Hello, Maria Paula. It's great to be with you today. Thanks for accepting this Archifeed interview. Let me start with my first question. What made you want to pursue architecture?
Since I was a child, I had this interest in me, and it's weird because no one in my family has been an architect in the last 3 or 4 generations. So I think it's something that I didn't learn from someone. And since I was very young, I started to do these kind of drawings that had different things that other kids used to draw. For example, kids always draw a tree, a sun, clouds, a house. I used to do almost the same, but I used to draw the house inside, like in section. So there was something in me that I needed to depict these actions inside the house, I guess. And then when I was 11 or 12 years old, I used to visit my best friend's house, and her dad was an architect, and the house was always in construction, like in remodelation. And her dad has these models and blueprints around. So I guess at some point I just thought, this is very fun, I want to be an architect.
And how did your understanding of architecture evolve since you started your journey?
The second shift came when I started my professional practice and when I learned the technical aspects of architecture. Because I think it's very important, that part, because you really understand how things work in the real world. So when you realize how to construct, how to make real something that was before in a drawing or in a paper, you get a lot of confidence. And that period of my life that started 10 years ago gave me that confidence to learn how to make my ideas real, basically. And the third shift is now, like, I am living it. Coming to GSAPP, learning all these new ways of thinking architecture have changed my perspective about the profession, but also what I want to pursue after. So I'm trying to figure it out, how it's going to be, but yeah.
What is the most unexpected thing you've learned since you've been here at GSAPP?
Okay, I think I have learned many things, but I think the most surprising one was conceive the architectural practice as more an ecological relationship that is communicate with vast systems. So I guess that thing shift something in my mind.
What were some of the major challenges you faced in your architectural career?
I guess that the biggest challenge is to accept that you are not going to love the practice every day, and because sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it requires you a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of long nights thinking and solving. I mean, your everyday problems sometimes are very tiny things, like in a project. So I guess that is the most difficult part. You don't love your profession every day, but you learn that are some periods that and you learn to accept that, and you learn to enjoy that somehow.
What's the biggest lie you've been told about becoming an architect?
I guess that since no one really taught me the profession, before I started the bachelor, I guess that with the people that I talked, they were very honest in the way that the profession is. Like, it has this challenge, you won't sleep, that kind of stuff. You will work very hard, and I think they were very honest.
If you could bulldoze one famous building built by any architect, which one would it be?
I wouldn't. Even if I put aside the discussion of aesthetics or whether the construction processes were good or bad or that kind of stuff, the fact is that the building is already there. So it has consumed a lot of energy. There is also a huge footprint. So I guess that the question would be, would it necessary to bulldoze that building, or we can repurpose them, or can we use that money to reestablish or restructure some ecosystem that had been damaged because of the construction of that building?
Interesting. If you had to redesign one iconic building that you've seen in the built environment, which one would you choose?
Okay, that's a very difficult question because it depends, no? Like, how you define iconic. Like, do you want to make the building more iconic? That seems like something very egocentric way of approaching the design, or you want to reflect about what is iconic. So personally, I wouldn't change anything because iconic buildings are what they are because their specificities and because of their particularities in the way that they were constructed and their history. So I guess that unless the goal of the project is to reflect about the idea of what makes something iconic, I wouldn't touch that building.
What are your career plans after graduating from GSAPP?
Because I would like to work here in New York for a couple of years to understand how does it work here. I feel like it's a very interesting environment for your professional career. And then I will come back to my own practice, my own office to explore.
What advice would you give to a high school student who would want to pursue architecture?
Enjoy it. I think enjoy every stage of the process. Architecture isn't just a profession, but most like a way of living. So I think there are many interesting things that are happening in the profession right now that open the door to new minds and new perspectives. So you will have a lot to think about it.
Is there one thing you wish you knew before you started architecture?
I'm not sure about that. I think it would change the surprise to start a path. So I guess that I have enjoyed every single step in the way that I have learned, in the way that I have evolved in my own speech and my own understanding of architecture. So I think I wouldn't change anything.
All right. Thank you, Maria Paula. Thanks for accepting this interview.
Thank you, Taimur.
Thank you.